All right, so I planted my flag a little bit earlier in the NFL. It is time you plant your flags.
Let's do it. I got 5 of them that I like here. We're going to start out with the first one. We're going to go Coach of the Year. I'm going to go to Sean Payton. Sitting on the board at 11-1 right now. A lot of talk about the Broncos during the preseason. When I'm looking at Coach of the Year market, you've got to look at what the storyline is going to be. And to me, this is a great storyline in Denver. If Sean Payton is able to come in and turn this team around, you've got a ton of value here. And if you look at the board right now, they're $550 to win the division. But you're getting 11-1 to Sean Payton. What should Sean Payton's odds be if they win the division? Even money?
Yeah.
2-1?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what Brian Daboll did last year to be able to get this award. He just turned a Giants franchise around from someone that won 4 or 5 games up into the playoffs. If Sean Payton's able to do that same thing with the Broncos this year and with everything that everyone's talked about with Russell Wilson at quarterback, you're going to see a ton of love for Sean Payton here in this award market later. Looks like he's dropped down to 9-1 now here at DraftKings. This is someone I think is pretty easy to back because even if he doesn't win the division, even if they end up winning 11 games and finishing second, you've got a 6-game improvement year over year with a team that is completely capable of it on the defensive side, and it's not that hard on the offensive side to move it. Additionally, I don't believe in Dan Campbell. He's number 1. I don't believe in Matt Eberflus. He's number 2 or 3. We'll get to these guys in a second and how much I don't believe in them. But you think about who are going to be elite teams. It's going to be Andy Reid. It's going to be Sirianni. It's going to be Shanahan. It's going to be McCarthy. Those guys aren't getting this award for winning 12, 13, 14 games. Someone would have to go 16-1 or 17-0 to be able to get the award from those elite teams. I think Sean Payton makes more sense than anyone else on this board.
Yeah, it is. It didn't make my list. It's kind of the same thing for me with Pete Carroll, right? I have a Pete Carroll in there as well. It's like I think that there's a world that exists where you have a couple of outs here. Certainly if they win the division, you're almost a shoo-in to win the award. But then also, even if they don't win the division but win 12 games, it typically goes to a coach whose team takes kind of that next step, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they have to win the division, but like you go from a 9-win team to a 12 or 13-win team. Or in this case, with the Broncos, you go from a team that disappointed so incredibly badly last year to a team that even, like I said, as long as they make the playoffs, right, he's at least going to be in the discussion. So I see where you're coming from there. What about the Seahawks?
I like the Seahawks to win the NFC at 14-1 here. And if you're going for a price this year in the NFL, I think you have to go to the NFC. The AFC is so loaded at quarterback, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to make a run through that conference for a team that is a longer shot on the board. Seattle on the other side, they're sitting at plus 235 to win the division over probably the third best team in the NFC right now. And they're sitting 14-1 to win the conference. There's a world where Seattle's the 1 seed in the NFC this year. And if that's the case, they have a great path to it. We talked earlier about their team and what they have from an asset perspective. Look, their running back room is loaded. Their wide receiver room is loaded. It's the second-year jump you need from both of their tackles, including Cross, who was a top 10 overall pick last year in the first round, and Wooten, who's their number 2 cornerback this year with Witherspoon on the other side. If they make those jumps, all of a sudden this offensive line is top 15 in the NFL. And by the way, the regression we saw from Geno Smith came exactly at the same time as the regression we saw from both of these rookie tackles. So there is a case you can make that if you get the same offensive line play later in the season that you got earlier in the season, you don't have the regression from Geno Smith. On top of that, I actually can make an argument as to why he was better last year. If you look at what Geno Smith is good at doing, it is throwing against two high shells, which is now overwhelmingly the style of defense you're seeing played in the NFL. He is able to get the ball out quickly, go to the right read. He doesn't mind checking the ball down. They've got a good running game. To me, this offense could be exceptionally good if that offensive line plays well, and I think you got a big chance of taking step forwards at both the tackles. If that's the case and this defense gets going, 14-1 to win the NFC, I think, is a very nice price. 30-1 right now to win the Super Bowl. I don't want to go that far because I would rather cash the 14-1 than sit there and have to figure out how I'm hedging the Super Bowl because I probably don't like them in the Super Bowl because it's the Bills, it's the Chiefs, it's the Bengals. Yeah. I'm going to be taking all of those teams over a Seattle team.
Yeah, if you look, you mentioned the tackles, and that really is one of the things like we see with the NFL. If an offensive lineman is actually good, they take a big step in year 2. Like you learn the game basically your rookie year. You're playing more games than you used to play and tend to wear down towards the end of the season as well. Also, hey, these defensive coordinators and defensive linemen are very, very smart. They're watching tape on you throughout the course of the season as well. They figure out what your weaknesses are. And so it is just natural that over the course of the season, these rookie offensive linemen end up kind of struggling down the stretch. But if they are worth their weight when it comes to year two, then they've done the same now. They've realized where their deficiencies were, and they start to button all that stuff up, and you do see those guys play much, much better. What do we like here about C.J. Stroud, or what should I say, actually, what don't you like about C.J. Stroud?
Well, there's a lot of things to like about C.J. Stroud. Like, he's not as mobile as some of the other rookie quarterbacks, and he's going to get a lot of playing time no matter how many interceptions he throws. Give me C.J. Stroud, most interceptions in the NFL at 20-1. This is a market which is interesting. Dak right now your favorite, which I completely disagree with, so I want to take a shot somewhere inside of this market. And C.J. Stroud seems the most likely to me. I think Houston's going to be throwing the ball quite a bit. I think they're going to be down quite a bit. It's going to give him the opportunity to air it out. And there's zero chance this guy comes out of games. There's zero chance he gets benched. Yeah. So you know you're getting a full 17 from C.J. Stroud. Their offensive line is terrible. I think that in itself is a couple picks. I like this here. I mean, if he throws 15, you've got a very, very good chance. And I don't think 15 is even getting that crazy. He threw one in the preseason. It was an awful read, which, by the way, C.J. Stroud, not great at reading defenses. He's great at reading cardboard boards that are held up by Ryan Day over on the sideline for Ohio State, not actual NFL defenses. It's funny because we have the poll up and C.J. Stroud's on it. And someone already chimed in. I'm going to vote just to piss Samabam off. Yeah, I guess my flag is pretty planted. I'm not a big C.J. Stroud guy. I think he's going to throw a ton of interceptions. I don't think he's going to come off the field. I think at 20-1, he's a great price.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Woods at receiver, he might be dust. You got Nico Collins, who has never proven really anything out there. There's a lot of ways that this could go south for Stroud too. So I'm liking that a lot at 20-1. What are we liking here in the NFC North?
This is another division where I don't necessarily agree with who everyone else likes. Detroit, the number one pick. Chicago getting a ton of steam here. I feel like the Vikings are a known quantity, and yes, I realize they went 11-0, but their Pythagorean win last year was right around 8. Their total sitting at 8.5. I know what I'm getting with the Vikings. Yeah. I know they can move the football. I know their defense isn't going to be great, but no NFC North defense is great outside of maybe the Packers. And then I like the Packers. I have them in the division to win 5-1. All you have to do, and this is any order, Vikings or Packers, Packers or Vikings. You can get any order for this. You're getting plus 750. So you need the Lions and the Bears to finish third and fourth in division. I think the Bears are finishing fourth in that division. I am not a believer in Justin Fields. 31 of 34 PFF-rated throwers from the quarterback position in the NFL. I need more than that. And I don't think that the additions of the weapons that they have is going to all of a sudden make him more accurate or more on time with his throws, two things he's struggled with in the NFL so far. So then you're just leaving me with, hey, Detroit, Minnesota, the Packers. Pick two. I'll take the Vikings and the Packers. It's at plus 750.
I actually have a Vikings ticket to win that division in my account as well. Jordan Love, by the way, one of the highest graded quarterbacks in the preseason by Pro Football Focus. Now, small sample size, not saying that necessarily means a whole lot, but hey, it's better than him being one of the worst graded in the preseason, that's for sure. And let's round things out with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, look, Justin Jefferson, most receiving yards, plus 550 right now on FanDuel. Let's not get too crazy here, right? Let's make this as simple as possible. He led the league by 100 yards last year. Tyreek Hill was second. No one else over 1,525 yards. He caught over 1,800 yards. He's also the only wide receiver in the top 4 that you have no injury concerns and that you have absolutely no concerns at quarterback. We look at Jamar Chase. We talked about Joe Burrow and what's happening there. You've got Tua Tagovailoa, and Hill is someone who's missed time as well. You've got Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford. Justin Jefferson, this is phenomenal to me. He's not missed a game in 3 years in the NFL. 16, 17, 17 games played. He was second 2 years ago to Cooper Kupp, who went up for almost 1,900 yards. Last year, he was number one. He's plus 550 in the favorite. He should be shorter than plus 550 in this market.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.